What's good, YouTube? It's your boy 2K here. Shout out to the movement and everybody who's moving with us. No intro for this one. I'm on my way to work, and while I'm putting on my motherfucking gaiters, I'm alerted to some information about some hating dumb motherfuckers talking about the Luis Ortiz Deontay Wilder fight was fixed. Get the fuck out of here! Are you kidding me? So you trying to tell me? Let's put it this way. So Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz during the fight, right? Both them niggas had walkie-talkies and shit, and Deontay Wilder was like, "Yeah, nigga, yo, you know what I'm saying? For 9 rounds, you know what I'm saying? You gonna whoop my ass and shit, gonna make it look real good, you know what I'm saying? And then in the 10th round, you gonna stand right there in front of me, and then I'm gonna land the motherfucking right hand, you know what I'm saying?" You telling me that's what the fuck they did, dog? Oh, my bad. Somewhere early on in the fight as well, I can't remember what round. Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna hit you too, and then you gotta fall and shit, dog. We're gonna get 10-8 round. Make it seem like, you know what I'm saying, I'm making a comeback, you know what I'm saying? But in the reality, you know what I'm saying, you really whooping my ass, and it ain't really gonna be a win for me until the 10th round. Yeah, shit gonna be real good, dog, you know what I'm saying? But get the fuck out of here. Or, before the fight, you know what I'm saying, Lou DiBella, Al Heyman, and both their management teams, Caribbean Promotions as well, they all came up with some type of fucking plot for them niggas to go off of, some script for them niggas to go off of, and the script said Deontay Wilder will get his ass whooped, you know what I'm saying, for 8 out of 9 rounds, right? In the process, get hit with a blistering straight left hand that hurts him, almost gets him knocked out, and I think in the 8th or 9th round, right? And then in the 10th round, Luis Ortiz, knowing the power that Deontay Wilder has, I mean, look at Arthur Spilka, that nigga ain't woke up yet. He put him in a motherfucking coma, right? Knowing the power that Deontay Wilder has, Luis Ortiz will need to stand directly in front of him so he can be hit by one of those straight right hands in order to fall down and take a dive. What the fuck is wrong with people, man? This is exactly why I don't like people. You know what I'm saying? Look, man, and this is no, you know what I'm saying, this is not a knock on my supporters. I love my supporters, you know what I'm saying? I do this shit for y'all, you know what I mean? But at the same time, man, this is why I stick to myself the majority of the time. This is why I only keep a certain amount of niggas in my circle. I don't have hundreds of niggas in my circle. You can count how many motherfuckers I got in my circle on one hand. You know what I'm saying? This is why I do that shit. Because people are so fucking stupid, man. They defy logics, only go off of emotions, right? You know, that's the type of shit that a lot of women do. But the way these motherfuckers act today, these men, these so-called men, you know what I'm saying? They eating all this food with all this estrogen in it. They acting like bitches. And that's the fucking problem, dog. Got grown-ass men out here going off their fucking emotions about another man. Makes no goddamn sense. Let me give y'all a history lesson real quick for you dumbass casuals that try to watch boxing just because you watch a fight here and there. All of a sudden, you some kind of fucking boxing enthusiast, right? I'm going to give you a real history lesson from a real boxing enthusiast. Let me tell you what fixed fights look like, motherfuckers. I start off with Muhammad Ali versus Sonny Liston, the rematch, right? Now, the very first fight in 1964, that was the first title Muhammad Ali won. He beat Sonny Liston, right? I think it was like an 8th round knockout or something like that, or I'm sorry, Sonny Liston retired in that fight, right? The FBI was investigating that fight because there was a situation between 2 gamblers who were associated with the mafia at that time. And around that time, all the way dating back to the 1800s, the mob ran boxing in America. Whenever boxing was introduced in America, the mob had a hand in it, right? That's why you had a lot of older fighters throwing fights and shit. Sugar Ray Robinson was a guy that threw a lot of fights, right? In reality, Sugar Ray Robinson pretty much legitimately only lost maybe twice. But he has 19 losses. 17 of those losses are believed to be thrown fights. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Jack Johnson threw a lot of fights as well. But anyway, the mob had a hand in boxing since the inception of this shit in the United States, right? So these two gamblers were associated with the mob. And one of the gamblers was like, yeah, pick Sonny Liston by knockout late in the fight. But then the day of the fight, he retracted that statement while he was advising another gambler. He said, you know what? Just don't pick anybody, because circumstances are being pushed that I can't talk about right now that should state otherwise. Don't bet on the fight. So basically, that was his fucking advice during the day of the fight, right? Now, these are two gamblers who bet on boxing all the time, but in this particular fight and in this situation, he said, fuck it, don't bet, because there's situations that I know about that I can't talk about any further. That was what the one gambler said. His name was Ash something. I can't remember his last name, but that's what he said. And the FBI was investigating that. Now, nothing came about of it, right? They couldn't really prove that Sonny Liston took a dive in that first fight, but there's still some speculation swirling around the first fight. The second fight, though, the rematch, there is no speculation, right? And you can watch highlights of both fights on YouTube, but they have the second fight, the full second fight on YouTube. There is no speculation, right? And if you watch the fight, it looks staged, okay? Muhammad Ali is dancing around the ring. It looks like there's a script there. He's obviously dancing around the ring. You know what I'm saying? Sonny Liston is pawing with him pawing a jab at him. Not really trying to land too much of anything. He throws a couple straight right hands here and there, but for the most part, he's throwing the jab, pretty much following Muhammad Ali around the ring. Not cutting the ring off, following him around the ring, right? And eventually, Sonny Liston gets in range, throws a jab. Muhammad Ali throws a straight right hand over his jab. The punch hits Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston falls to his knees, right? This is why it looks fixed. Two things. Number one, he falls to his knees. Then when he falls to his knees, he stretches his body out. So he extends himself to where he's laying in a stretched out motion on his stomach, then rolls over on his back, stretches his arms out again. You know what I'm saying? That shit looks theatric like a motherfucker, right? That's the first thing. Second thing, the punch that Muhammad Ali landed, he threw it literally like at a position in which you can't generate that kind of power to knock a guy out in that fashion, right? He was stepping back on top of that. He was on his back foot, and he kind of just, he flicked the straight right hand from his side, and it went over the top of the jab and it hit Sonny Liston. Now, the angle that I seen it at, it's hard to tell whether the punch really hit Sonny Liston, but there's a lot of motherfuckers that wrote about this fight in back in that time. And they were saying, yo, it was a phantom punch. It was a phantom punch. And the story behind that is this. Muhammad Ali, after he won the first fight, there was a secret contract with a different promotional company who promoted Sonny Liston's fights at that time, who said, yeah, if you should beat Sonny Liston, become the new heavyweight champion, we will now promote your fights, and then we will be able to give you the opportunity to fight Sonny Liston again, right? At that time, the World Boxing Association didn't allow rematch clauses. So this particular side promotional company allowed for the rematch clause, but they worded it differently. They said, hey, you can pick your next opponent, but in the background, that particular promotional company was picking Sonny Liston, but they couldn't say that shit, right? That's number one right there. That's the first flag. The second flag, Sonny Liston had a lot of dealings with the mob. You know what I'm saying? And it was known that at that time, Sonny Liston owed debts. He owed gambling debts to the mob. And in order to pay off his gambling debts, he was to take a dive in the rematch against Muhammad Ali, right? That's a fixed fucking fight. If you can't see it, then the circumstances surrounding the fight tells you it's fucking fixed, if you know your history. Let's move to the next one. Jake LaMotta, right? Versus Billy, I can't remember the guy's last name. Oh man, completely just escaped me. Hold on, let me get this shit, dog, because I want to give y'all the real. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to give y'all no bullshit. I want to give y'all the motherfucking real. What's this cat's name? Billy Fox. That's his name. Jake LaMotta versus Billy Fox in 1947. Now, Jake LaMotta came out and testified in front of a Senate subcommittee stating that he threw that fight. I think he was knocked out in the 4th round, right? he threw that fight because the mob was blocking him being able to get a legitimate title shot at middleweight. And the guy that he was fighting at middleweight that he wanted to fight was going to be Marcel Seldon, right? At that time, he was the middleweight champion. He wanted that shot. And the mob was not allowing Jake LaMotta to get it. So he threw the fight against Billy Fox in order to get that title shot, which ultimately came in 1949, 2 years later, and ended up knocking out Marcel Seldon and become the next middleweight champion, right? Let's move to the next one. Now, that one I just said, that one was an admitted fixed fight by Jake LaMotta, right? Let's go to the next one. Mike Tyson versus Bruce Seldon, right? Everybody should know this shit. When Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas in 1990, I believe, right? The next fight after that fight was supposed to be a match with Evander Holyfield, promoted by Don King, right? Buster Douglas was supposed to be a tune-up. Mike Tyson was supposed to run through Buster Douglas, and then they had the big matchup with Evander Holyfield. But when Buster Douglas knocked him out, that fucked up the shot with Evander Holyfield, right? So now Buster Douglas got that opportunity. Of course, Holyfield knocked him the fuck out with ease, no problems, right? But it fucked up the money that Don King was trying to make between Holyfield and Mike Tyson, right? So let's fast forward to 1996. Bruce Seldon ended up being a guy who was Mike Tyson's tune-up before the Evander Holyfield fight in 97, I believe they fought in. The first fight, right? You two correct me if I'm wrong. This is all off the cuff. You know what I'm saying? But Bruce Seldon was a decent fighter, right? Pretty good fighter. But Mike Tyson needed some type of fight to spark the interest more than what it was already at, right? They needed to show that, hey, Mike Tyson is back. This motherfucker is no joke, right? Because he had just did time in prison. A lot of people still like Mike Tyson. You know, they still supported him because of what he had did, you know, in the 80s and early 90s before Buster Douglas, right? But there was still an asterisk like, but has prison made him soft? Has prison fucked him up? Let's see how he does against a formidable opponent and Bruce Seldon, right? Nigga, if y'all watch that fight, Mike Tyson didn't even hit this nigga. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even hit this motherfucker. He threw a punch, hit the nigga in the arms. Bruce Seldon throws himself up against the ropes, then throws himself to the ground, gets up, then staggers back into the goddamn, well, let me say this. He gets up, says that he's okay, right? But then in the process of trying to bounce in order to say he's okay, this nigga theatrically staggers back into the goddamn corner. His eyes roll into the back of his head, right? And then they stop the fight. I think it was Mills Lane was the referee. He stops the fight, right? This is the thing. If you're watching that in real time, you're like, damn, man, he knocked that nigga the fuck out, right? But if you go back and watch the goddamn fight and you see the punch that landed, it didn't even hit him in the jaw. It hit the nigga on the fucking arms. Since when does an arm punch make you groggy, nigga? Since when does a nigga hit you on the arm and your chin feels it? Get the fuck out of here. One of the most fixed fights in boxing history was Mike Tyson versus Bruce Seldon. And the reason why it was fixed is because Don King did not want to fuck up the money he was trying to make again with Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. So this time around, he said, yo, Bruce, I got my niggas with me, dog. And everybody knows Don King was a motherfucking gangster. That nigga had thugs, motherfucker had muscle all around him, right? They knew he was a gangster. He said, Bruce, come in my office, B. Come on, man, we ain't gonna do nothing to you, dog. Get your ass over here, little nigga. This is what's gonna happen right here. About to take this dive, dog. Here you go. Here go a little bit of money, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of money right here. You gonna take this dive, dog. Wait. You ain't gonna do what? Hey, yo, Tiny. Hey, midget. Bring your ass over here, dog. This nigga trying to say he ain't gonna take the dive. Oh, you will take the dive now. Yeah, no doubt, motherfucker. I know you will, motherfucker. Here go your money. Fuck out my office. That's exactly what happened. 2K translated. That's exactly what happened. And hence we got the goddamn first Evander Holyfield fight. Those three examples are fixed fucking fights. And known fixed fucking fights throughout boxing history. This fight was not a fixed fucking fight, okay? Deontay Wilder cannot fix getting his ass whooped for 8 out of 9 rounds, right? Deontay Wilder cannot fix being legitimately hurt by a straight left hand on the inside, right? Luis Ortiz cannot fix being hurt by a straight right hand and 2 different points in the fight, early on in the fight, and then ultimately the round he ended up getting knocked out in. He can't fake being hurt by a shot like that. And if you look at the goddamn fight, like I said, all these other fights I just mentioned, those 3 other fights that are fake, you can look at the fight and derive a conclusion like, yeah, that was a fixed fight. Easily, right? But this fight, if you rewatch it, you can't derive that shit. You can't come to that conclusion. All those shots land flush. Luis Ortiz was legitimately hurt and legitimately knocked the fuck out. So get the fuck out of here. Stop hating, dog. Goddamn, man. Get a nigga his fucking credit. And this is a guy that was a huge critic of Deontay Wilder telling you to give him his fucking credit, right? We know he didn't fight nobody like 36 of his fucking, of his fights. 36 out of his 40 fights. Probably 38 of his 40 fights. However you want to see it. We know he didn't fight nobody. But this last fight right here, he fought arguably the best fighter at heavyweight. When we talk about skill. Arguably, motherfuckers. You understand that shit? A lot of boxing enthusiasts are telling you, yeah, Luis Ortiz, skill-wise, is the best heavyweight in boxing, okay? And if you don't believe that, the one thing you can't fucking argue is that Luis Ortiz is one of the best fighters at heavyweight. You can't argue that shit. Fuck out of here, man. Get this nigga his credit, man. I'm out.